Hey guys, in this video I thought I'd do a little review of some of the work that I've done to my 1970 Trans Am in the 5 months that I've owned it. I have done a couple of videos already on things like the exterior LED light conversions that I've done and painting the boot with the splatter paint, things like the decals, so I won't go through that. So I'll go through some of the other stuff that I've done. I've also done a couple of videos on some of the new parts I've fitted, so again I won't bore you by going through that again. So I thought I'd start at the front end and some of the work that I've done when I got it was panel alignment. Now I know these early second gen cars were notoriously bad for panel alignment from the factory, but I thought there was still some improvements I could make. So one of the big jobs I did was align and reshim things like the front wings, unbolted the doors on the hinges and raised them and tilted them slightly. So I'll go through the panel alignment that I've gone through. So starting with the bonnet, I've tried to get the gaps as even as possible. That's down the driver's side. Along the front, I tightened that gap up initially. The gap along the front was so big I could actually get my thumb in all the way along. So I've tightened that up. Again, passenger side bonnet gap is all pretty even now. Things like the tops of the wings. This wing sat up right up high like this, and the bonnet was even higher. It was literally like a staircase. So I've managed to lower the wing and adjust the bonnet on the hinges. So the bonnet effectively, I've managed to straighten it because it was at an angle. So I've managed to straighten it, I've slid it down, and I've adjusted the hinges so the tops of the bonnet where it meets the wings doesn't sit up so high. So yeah, in comparison to what it was like when I got it, again I say I know these cars were notoriously bad, particularly the early ones for panel alignment, but spending a bit of time adding a couple of shims here and there, I think it's made a big improvement to the panel alignment. Again, when you look at things like the sweep of the chrome now, it just all sort of just lines up better and just looks a lot nicer than it did. So while I was doing that, literally every bolt at the front of the car that holds the panels in the wings, the doors, the bonnet, nose cone, every nut or bolt I've taken out, greased all the threads, polished the heads up of the bolts on a metal wheel, and yeah, taken the time just to, when everything's gone back, just yeah, just say grease the threads and just, yeah, generally take a bit of time and hopefully prevent sort of any future problems with rust. So that's what I've done, sort of panel alignment at the front. Moving on, a couple of other little jobs that I've done on the car. I've replaced both side door glass mirrors because they were really scratched. I've done a couple of other little things like the door handle inserts, the chrome door edge guards. These have got massive doors on them, and I've got quite a big garage, but you still can't open the doors fully either side, so it's just nice to have that little bit of protection on the edge of the doors, although I do keep cloths to put over my lights there when I open the doors. A little bit neurotic I am, but so yeah, that's some of the work I've done with the panel alignment. At the front still, I took all the grills out. There was a couple of rivets behind here that were broken, so I drilled those out and replaced them with new rivets. All the headlights I've taken out, the bezels, the marker lights, everything's been removed, cleaned, polished, and any threads on bolts and screws have been put back with grease. Number plates, replaced both number plates, sourced the correct number plate bracket from Firebird Central. So yeah, lots of time just spent doing things like that. So under the bonnet, I've already done again some videos on some of the new parts I fitted, like the filler panel here and the battery cover and stuff like that. But general work that I've done under the bonnet, the fan shroud, I removed that and painted that because it was just very blotchy. General service work, I've already done a previous video on the power steering and replacing the hoses, so again I won't go into that. But general work under the bonnet, I've had coolant changed, I've changed the oil and filter, engine oil and filter twice, just to clean it out. Brake fluid, changed all the brake fluid this week. I've put new GM correct spark plugs in, all the wires, spark plug wires, all that, they were all good before. I've just had the valve cover gaskets done. Prior to having that done, I did check all the torque settings on the rockers, the non-adjustable ones, and the book says 20 foot-pound of torque, so I just checked that they're all good. So yeah, generally fully serviced the car. The automatic transmission fluid is all good, so I've left that. It didn't need topping up. The diff oil, I did have that changed while it was in the garage, having some other bits and bobs done. So the diff oil's been changed, and the LSD additive added to it. One other thing that the guy I took it to this week noticed, because I said I didn't feel like the engine was correctly timed. I don't have a timing gun, so while it was in having the coolant and stuff like that done, I asked him to check the timing, and it was well out apparently. But what had happened, either from some previous work or whatever, the distributor hold down clamp at the back, the bolt had been over tightened, so it was de-threaded, and effectively the distributor was moving while the engine was running. So they've re-dyed or threaded or tapped out the hole or the thread for the hold down clamp and put a new bolt in there, timed it, connected the vacuum advance up because that had been disconnected, and the hoses were split, so we replaced the vacuum hose. So the timing's all spot on now. I've taken it out for a good couple of runs, about 30 miles I did in it last night, and it's noticeably different in terms of the way it performs now. I did give it a pretty good ragging last night, and it thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, so some good work that's been done to it this week. So yeah, that's all the service work done, and pretty much again what I've done around the front of the car. Shortly after I bought the car, I purchased a set of the year one 17-inch rally wheels. They're 17 by 9, front and rear, a 275 40 tyres on them. There's no rubbing on the front at all with that size tyre. I just love the look of the year one wheels on these second gen cars, so I had to get a set. I have got the original JW coded 15-inch rims that the car left the factory with the polyglass tyres, so I won't be parting with those. I'll stay with the car. They were quite a rare wheel, I understand. They were a 14-inch rim with the additional inch welded on just for the 70.5 model year, but they're in the shed, so they'll stay with the car because the car's so original. But I just like the look of these modern wheels. It just gives the car a more aggressive stance. So moving on to the interior, some of the work that I've done to the interior of the car. I mean, I do love this sandalwood colour interior, and I believe it's quite a rare option for this year. I see lots of them with the blue interior, but yeah, I just love the creamy interior against the white. It's just a real nice feature of the car. But anyway, I'll digress. So some of the work I've done on the interior of the car, so starting here, obviously I put some new scuff panels in, put the Edition Trans Am stickers in. No, it's not original, but I like that. I painted the door jamb vents, the washers around the door striker bolts. I've painted those. They'd been adjusted at some point in the past, and there was chips of paint around the outside of it on the door jamb. So behind it, I've fitted these black rubber washers or grommets, which just covers up a little bit of the chip paint. The striker bolts themselves, again, removed those, greased the threads, wire wheel polished them, so they all look good. On the back of the door here, I changed the GM sticker. It had one of the aqua colour ones on there originally, which I don't think was correct for the year. Everywhere I was looking online, the dark blue ones were the correct ones for this year, so I've replaced the sticker. Can't remember if I mentioned it in a previous video, but I've replaced, or it was missing the chrome trims on the pedals, so I've put those on. The parking brake rubber, that was split, so I replaced that. There's lots of little jobs I've done, things like the screws for the steering wheel. They just had little bits of surface rust on them, so I wire wheel polished them. The same with the shifter bezel, the screws for that. While it was in the garage as well a few weeks back, having some of the service work done, I'd said that I couldn't change the gears below drive. It just would not go into S or L, so I suppose second or first. And it was just lack of use. The guy who did the work for me just greased everything up and said, it's just lack of use, it works fine now. And just recommended that I just use it regularly to stop it from seizing again. So other work I did, the original AM FM radio didn't work when I got it. It turned on, but that was it. All the speakers had blown. The balance or fader part of the radio, the bezels behind the knobs actually control the balance and fader. They'd seized, so I freed those up. So I got all the radio working now. It's got new speakers in the front. And I replaced the single shelf speaker that it had in the back. In terms of other work, I did briefly get the original clock working. So I removed all the dash, took the clock out, oiled it, cleaned the little contact points up, and it worked. It was really nice. It worked for about a month, 6 weeks, and then just stopped. So I'll probably take that out again at some point over the winter, see if I can clean it up again and get it working. If not, I believe there's some quartz updates you can do to the clocks or upgrades. So yeah, I'll probably get that done at some point. Some of you might have noticed that the Firebird here is not original. I put that on only for sentimental reasons. My absolute obsession for these cars comes from my early childhood when my dad had a 72 Formula, and I absolutely loved that. And these are the badges off that car. He gave them to me a few years ago, so I've got one I keep on the base of a model indoors, and this one, it used to be in my black Trans Am for 10 years, and I've put it in this car now. So yeah, that's the original badge off my dad's 1972 Bullnose. So other work I've done, the glove box. Let me open that up. When I got it, there was quite a bit of all this was just surface rust. So I managed to save the original sticker, and I've rubbed that down, painted it, satin blacked it, drilled all the rivets out, replaced the rivets. I want to get another glove box liner because it's had the back of it chopped out, obviously for a radio or something at some point. I've just covered it temporarily with like black vinyl, but with the heat it just keeps coming off, so I'm going to replace that over the winter, because you can get those again off of sites like Firebird Central. So yeah, another job to do in the winter. Things like the vent knobs here, took all those out, polished them, Two of them weren't connected either side. The cables had come off or just hadn't been reconnected potentially when it was restored a few years back. So yeah, that's all been connected back up and now works. Not really work, but a little model I've put on the dash I think looks pretty cool. I've put my dash cam in, hardwired that in with an inline fuse. In the glove box you might have noticed I've put some USB connectors in as well, so I've got my iPhone charging lead that sits there. So and the other little jobs for things like the lights, under dash lights, they just weren't secured, they were just cable tied up under the dash, so I've actually fitted them correctly, screwed them in under the dash and put LED bulbs in the interior. I haven't done the dash with LED, I like the original sort of look on that, so I'm going to leave that as it is. But yeah, that's some of the jobs that I've done on the interior. What else do I want to do on the interior? A couple of little things I'd like to get done possibly over the winter. Things like the backs of the seats. When you look, there's just obviously scuff marks. Either it's been repainted and the paint's not adhered to it properly, but yeah, it's a couple of jobs, little jobs like that I'd like to get done at some point in the future, just to finish the interior off, because the rest of it does look absolutely mint. What did I do now? Put the cup holders in, got them from Firebird Central. I put some speakers in at the front here that had already had holes drilled in the console, so I'm assuming someone had done something very similar. So rather than trying to replace the centre speaker in the dash, which is a nightmare to get to, I've just put those in there. I took the console out as well and painted all the bracketry, because again you could just see little bits of surface rust. A couple of additional switches I've put in. These are my day running lights, but I can turn them off if I want. And this little switch here I put in as an override button for the shaker. It's a functional shaker on here, but I think to get it to actually sort of open, you have to drive it quite hard, so it's done on the throttle position. I've tried to adjust that a bit on the carb end so it comes or opens up sooner, but you have to give it quite a bit of a throttle for it to open up. And I don't like to drive the car too hard, but I do like to leave see the flap open as well. So I've just put a little override switch in there, so if you're sitting in traffic and it's a bit warm, I can open up the flapper and it just looks cool. So that's some of the work I've done on the interior of the car. Again, on the other side, I put the GM sticker on and the Trans Am stickers. The car had been repainted a few years ago in the States when it was restored, but I've spent quite a bit of time compounding all the door shuts and the door jambs. It just makes it look a little bit more finished, and things like greasing all the hinges and that up. And a couple of other jobs are done. Fitted ignition buzzer for the keys in, and a headlight buzzer, reminder buzzer, because they weren't wired in. So that's the interior. So other work that I've done, the underneath of the car when it was restored. I won't put the camera under there because you probably won't see it very well. But the whole of the underneath of the car when it was restored was red oxide. So it was all sprayed underneath like it would be when it came out of the factory. So it looks really, really good under there. I didn't want to lose the look of the red oxide, but equally with our climate in the UK being a bit damp and wet, I wanted to rust protect it, but I didn't want to use something like wax oil that colours it and you lose the red oxide. So when the car was in a couple of months ago having some work done, I got some Lanaguard and had the whole of the underneath of the car Lanaguarded. So that's just like a clear rust proofer. Just spray it on out the bottom, big sort of 5 litre bottle. It comes with like a little, well, quite a long tube, so you can inject it into any cross members and stuff like that and really get it everywhere. So it dries really oily like a wax oil, but it dries clear, so you can still see all the red oxide underneath. I also, when it came back, I took things like the door jamb vents off, and I've absolutely soaked it all in the inner wings with Lanaguard. I did all, again, behind the nose cone, all in the rad support panel, everywhere I could get it. So yeah, they reckon it lasts 5 years, that stuff. But so I never take the car out if it's raining. I mean, it's raining today, so it won't be going out. But it doesn't mean if you take it out on a dry day over here, the weather won't change. So it's just that peace of mind knowing the things have been rust proofed. And all the wheel arches, they had been blacked, rust proofed. So I re-rust proofed those with black Hammerite rust proofer. Just took the wheels off and painted it all on there with a brush. So yeah, that's a bit of a summary of some of the work that I've done to the car since I've had it in the 5 months I've owned it. Quite a lot. We're sort of coming up to winter soon. The car does stay garaged all the time, but when the temperature drops over the winter, being a wooden garage, you can get a bit of condensation. So the plan is this year I'm going to get a Carcoon, an internal Carcoon, so just like the not an oxygen chamber, but that sort of thing. I've marked out where it's going to come in the garage, so it's quite a big bit of kit. That's where it'll come in. I do have a side door in my garage, so when winter's here, I'll put it away in a Carcoon. The good thing with the Carcoon is all the sides unzip. And you can lay the sides over the top, so if I want to come out here and tinker, I can still get full access to the car. But yeah, when the car's left, I can zip her up, plug the fans in, and it'll just hopefully keep out any condensation over the 2 or 3 sort of winter months where we get a lot of cold and damp. The last car I had in here, my Mach 1, I had to get a dehumidifier out here and was constantly cleaning it. You come out here some days and it was just literally, the car was just covered in condensation. So I think the dehumidifier does work, but I think the Carcoon's going to be a much better option. So yeah, I'll do a video later on in the year, setting that up and getting the car in. There's probably lots of other little bits I've done on this car that I haven't talked about. If I remember, it's I'll maybe do another little video, but I just wanted to give you a general overview of what I've done in the 5 months of my ownership. I do keep a little board here as well, as a reminder of what I've done and when stuff's due. And I also have a little logbook that I've bought for the car, detailing every part that I've bought for it, every bit of work I've done. It details the mileage and the dates it was done. So but yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to go through on this video. In terms of what I think of the car after 5 months, as I've said on previous videos, this is a car that I've absolutely loved pretty much all my life and always wanted one. So I'm now 46 years old. I've got what I wanted, and I don't see personally me ever selling this unless circumstances mean I have to. So yeah, I've absolutely loved owning it in the 5 months that I have done. I still come out here every now and then and pinch myself because I think, wow, I've finally got one. So yeah, I love it. Love working on it, love looking after it. Still a few little things I want to get done to it over time, but that's the great thing about owning some of these old classic cars. They're never really 100% done. There's always something you want to improve or something you want to tinker with. And for me, it's great therapy. My young lad even suggested, because every time I take him out in it, he's 16, he absolutely loves it. He said it puts a massive smile on his face. He just absolutely loves going out for it, and he reckons I should start a side business up, calling it car therapy. So I'll just take people out for drives in the car as part of their therapy. He said because it just makes everyone happy. The amount of people you drive past and they put their hands up and wave and smile, and yeah, maybe a good little business on the side. So a bit of car therapy. So who knows? If I can make a bit of money out of the car as well, it's always a bonus. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy some of the videos I've been doing. I've been getting loads of comments and likes on previous videos, so it's really nice to sort of receive some of the comments and people subscribing to my channel. It's just a bit of fun. I enjoy doing these videos. Hope you enjoy them, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.